We all will remember the sad incident that happened on the 26th of August. At about 9:45 a.m., the train took off. Shortly after, two other trains had passed through the same point. A train took off at Idu on his way to Pregasa in Kaduna. At about 11:09, the train, we got a telegram. We call it telegram. That is the way we receive information along the track. That we had a derailment at kilometer 49, close to, just with a high view to our station at Asham. That Asham station is not for now an operating station where train stops. The next stop will have been Regasa. But Asham is the station before Jere, and we all know what Jere is along that corridor. The information came from Mr. Ibrahim Mudibo, the AKTS manager. AKTS means Abuja Kaduna Train Service Manager. That's the man who manages the services. Immediately, our emergency rescue and recovery system picked up. And what that says is that the manager must start contacting and mobilizing all emergency team. And among the people the manager will contact is the managing director, who will, in this case, stand in as the incident commander. The managing director was at that time at the headquarters in Lagos, and he immediately got the brief, that's myself, and I sent message to the Honorable Minister for Transportation. Thereafter, I made contact with the Honorable Minister for Education, who I know could help me locate the principal officers in the Ministry of Health, because he was a former Minister of State there. While we were on the phone, the contacts were immediately made, and the permanent secretary also immediately contacted the nearby hospitals to allow them that they should get ready to receive patients. As at that time, the information we had was that there are about 10 people with different degrees of injury. We also contacted the Federal Capital Territory Administration via the Secretary of Transport, who we requested should help us contact the system. And within minutes, he also got back that their hospitals have been alerted, even though the incidence is closer to Kaduna than Abuja. We also contacted the governor of Kaduna and some of our colleagues in Kaduna in the transport sector. The Honorable Minister also spoke with the governor directly. And the Kaduna state government mobilized the security outfit and also mobilized the hospitals around the area. That was what happened between the hours of 11:10 to the next 1 hour. NEMA immediately got the information through the emergency system, and NEMA also mobilized people. The issue of mobility is just that the major access to that place will have been through the train track, which is already been blocked. So all these people we mentioned got to the site using the road through Buhari and Kubwa. After making the contacts and mobilizing first responders to site, the security outfits that were actually on ground in Asham and along the Kaduna route also mobilized to site. And they were the first people to arrive at the scene. And they are the one who started the evacuation using military ambulances and ambulances provided by a local primary health care center there and that of NEMA. The Nigerian Air Force also immediately provided area cover for the operation to remove any doubt of security or otherwise. The NRC on its own triggered its passenger evacuation process beyond that of the general protocol, and we directed that a train with full complements, just as the one that had the accident, should be mobilized from Idu. So we took a train with another 8 rigs. The one that has the accident had 10 rigs. I will explain that later. A train that had has 8 rigs and moved to the site to evacuate people that would have been evacuated. At this point, ambulances from the Federal Ministry of Health had already positioned themselves at Idu and Kubwa if the train arrives. When the train took off, the train picked additional first responders, mainly from the Ministry of Transportation, and additional engineers from the NRC based at Idu and Kubwa. Within the first 2 hours, all 618 passengers were evacuated out of the derailed and capsized train. I will explain that in the course of discussion. And we reported 7 people were have serious injury. But as at yesterday, we discovered the number is actually more than 7 that were injured. So it was only 7 that were serious. So that was the way the medical people reported it. But to us, injury is injury. So um, the report we had earlier says 7 people were injured. Actually, they were close to 20, and there are different degrees of injury. Some people felt the injury is not serious enough; they should not count them as serious. Because once you are regarded as serious, you have to go into the ambulance. So the immediately to the NSIB, Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, newly created or newly established, that has the responsibility for investigation of transport sector related accidents, which is a new of its kind in Nigeria, also stepped in. And they sent 4 investigators to site, well kitted. You will recall that about a month ago, we had a stakeholder engagement on the first responders in the transport sector, and that was where we all pledged allegiance to make sure that we fall in line with global practices of crash site investigation. The security, that is the military, the Nigerian Air Force, the Nigerian Police, the Nigerian Civil Defense Safety Corps, and our own in-house police, that is Nigerian Railway Police Command, stood firm on ground and on the air and ensured that the area was properly protected. And at this point, we need to commend the role the security agencies play. We have not heard incidents of harassment of any of the neighborhood or the people who came to support the rescue. We also had support from the vigilantes who are all along that corridor and members of the Asham communities who also provided assistance for those who want to leave the scene. Of the 618 passengers, 618 people on board, 583 were passengers, 15 were NRC crew members. Now, one medical person on each of our train. At any time, there's always a medical personnel on ground, and which we also acquired through a third-party arrangement. And all passengers on our train are entitled to medical service while on the train. 8 cleaners were on the train, 11 catering staff were also on board the train, making the total of 618. That was the one. That very day one, we were able to recover the locomotive that was moving from behind, while the 8 other coaches and the locomotive that was driving in front were left on site because we were advised to leave site before 6 p.m., which is the normal practice on that corridor. We immediately secured the manifest from our ticketing company to corroborate with the information we are getting on ground, and they all speak to the same thing. We also directed the funds to be made immediately. That has been difficult for now because they suspected some people are trying to catch on by calling people that they have a refund. They should send their phone numbers. So if that did not happen, it is because we said they should stop it. So that when things are down, we will do the contacting. And as of today, our customer service relations department, which was newly created at the Nigerian Railway Corporation, has started contacting people on the manifest. We have also sent messages to them through the phone number they drop. Preliminary assessment. The NSIB spent 2 days to do their investigation. And while they were doing the investigation, we could not conduct any rescue that is serious because it will affect the scene of a um, um, accident. So at afternoon of the second day, they signaled through an exit meeting with us that we can go ahead. And they have collected all the measurements and data they needed. However, they will require some of our personnel for further discussion. Because of the traumatic nature of the accident, they feel it is better to allow the drivers and some other people to have some time to fully get back to normal. Nature of the accident. A total of 7 coaches and 1 locomotive were involved in the accident. I told you it is a rake of 10. So only out of these 10, only 8 were actually with accident impact, while 2 were not seriously affected. That's the local at the back and the business class closer to them. In fact, the people in the business class said they just heard that bam and the train stopped. They never felt any impact, only to open up their doors and see evacuate, evacuate, and discover that it was an accident, a very, very serious one. The accident caused damage to our rolling stock and the track materials. Normally, if it was ordinary derailment, there would not be damage to the track material. The wheels of the train will just shift and the train will be intact. But this one came with a capsizing. So while some shifted, the train, some of the coaches capsized. They fell on their side or off the track. And during the process of that situation, they dragged forward because they were on speed already, and they scattered the surface of the track, went to the other track that was meant for exchange of train, because it was at a junction, and destroyed that too, partially. But the one that was majorly destroyed was the one on which the train was moving. And beyond where the locomotive stopped, the track remains intact. This incident happened at where you call a point. A point on the track is where train changes lane, and they are usually prone to incidences, not, I won't say accident, incidences, if there is no adequate caution when you approach a point. A train could be coming on the other side, and where they even use electronic system, if it fails, that's where you have train collision. It always happens at a point. Or if you get to a point and the thing is not properly opened and you move, your wheel could hang. And so all the drivers have understanding of what to do at points. The typical thing is that you slow down, regardless of what is going on, then you take off. When you take train abroad, you see when they get to some bends, you just see the train go slow. Or when the train gets to certain place, you see them go slow, then they take off. Those are the points where you have the interchanges. It can either be controlled electronically, where you have 24 hours power supply, or it can be done manually, which is the major situation in Nigeria. So we add damages to our track. We have details of how many equipment were destroyed. Security arrangement. We want to say here that beyond doubt, the military, the security outfit proved that they are actually on ground. The ones on ground, the ones that were mobilized, including the GOC, First Mechanized Division, who moved to site, the commandant of civil NSD CDC, Civil Defense, was on ground, and a representative of the Inspector General of Police and Lagos, Nigerian Railway Police Command were also on ground. So also were vigilantes from the community. Now, mobilization and deployment of men and materials, equipment for site clearance. We had to wait till the next day for NSIB to complete their site information gathering. As soon as they cleared us, we moved the we moved an additional coach off the track. We did what they call derailing. So we use manual jack to jack the train back onto the track, and then we move. And upon finishing that and our inspection, we discovered that we will only be able to do for two more coaches, because after those two coaches, the ones ahead have dragged and damaged the track. So what that means is that when we resume, we have completed that as of today. We have derailed the two of them now to move them out. So the civil engineers will now move to site to reconstruct the track. So when they reconstruct the track, our crane will now be able to move on the track to get to the site of the next capsided DMU or whatever, raise it up. And alternative is to move through the neighborhood. That is a tough call for now because the train track is like on the lower level. They dug the ground to put the train. So the higher level, which is the normal level, you then have a high tension cable. But engineers are working on whether there will be the reconstruction of another road. The army engineers are also working with us, but they know what to do. So, like I said, we also immediately went on air at about 1 p.m. After we have concluded our contacting, we went to the media to confirm that the incident did happen because it was already being flashed and media people were calling. When they call, we tell them it is true, but we are not making any release now. We need to make sure that the area is under full security cover. We confirmed it happened and we issued another one to give an update on the same day at about 7 p.m. And at 9 p.m., we spoke to some media via phone. And at 10 p.m., we also appeared on another network media that was available. The next morning, we were at another national TV station, and that same day, we were at another one in the evening. All this while, up to today, we have issued 4 press statements, and we have also went to site with some journalists, notably channels, TVC, NTA, AIT came later. Trust TV was about the first to show up. So a lot of media houses were on site, and the security protocol wouldn't have permitted the circumstance. But we want to thank the media for their prompt response to the site and their well-behaved attitude, because so far we have not seen any picture or things that the military or the security people would know. We know the nature of that corridor. Um, Possible sabotage, vandalization, or security breach. I'm going to read this one because I don't want to speak of it. Though nationwide, the national rail network system, especially the narrow gauge, that's the one that runs from Lagos to Kano, to Kaura, Namoda, and to Nguru, via Kano, and the one that runs from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, and then from Jos to Kafanchan, and all the source. Though the national network, especially the narrow gauge, is grappling with huge cases of vandalization from intentional theft by scrap speculators and syndicates. It is a big syndicate that is after the tracks for money. And they go as far as stealing boats, cliffs, rail, and some of these syndicates also extend internationally because mistakenly sometimes they approach us that we should do business now. But we tell them our rail tracks, our rail materials, and critical national assets. You're welcome, sir. He already has many of these briefs. So I will just go ahead and then summarize. Yeah, though nationwide, the national rail network system, especially the narrow gauge, is grappling with huge cases of vandalization from intentional theft by scrap speculators and syndicate. The AKTS is not one of the prone areas due to heavy security presence and usage. This is not to say that we don't have track vandalism on that corridor. In fact, the Asham to Jere part of that track is the most vandalized along that corridor. That is also very close to this particular. So we are not leaving anything out of suspicion. Even though the NRC is not an investigative agency, but with reference to this incident, the operation of the AKTS line, we do not suspect any of such, as the accident track shows no sign of neither sabotage nor track integrity at this point. So that will be the subject of further investigation by investigating committees and investigating agencies that are looking at it. We are not an investigating agency, but when we have an incident, we must. That is until recently, but we must conduct our own in-house investigation to know what to do next. And whatever we find out, we will submit to any panel of investigation that are set up. However, we wish to report that Local 2701, that's just a number, and some coaches traverse the point, which I mentioned earlier. There are two lines there. Only one line is for movement. The other one is just to change. And it doesn't go down. The Abuja Kaduna line is single lane at most point. Prior to the wheel drop of one of the other coaches, as a result of a gapping point, that's another technical, there is a gapping point where you you move between the switch rail and the tongue rail at the south end of Asham Station, resulting in the forced displacement of the point clip that was used to secure the line after setting it on line one. So that line was permanently set at line one. So there wouldn't be issue of somebody did not do his job to switch. It was formally set at line one, thereby forcing the remaining coaches to change their route to line two. In conclusion, all the 618 passengers on board the train were evacuated safely, except for the 7 that were taken to the hospital but are now all discharged and recovering. There was no fatality. We are aware of a media house that reported one fatality. We don't know where that comes from, but we know not from this incident. And we have been very plain. We have allowed the media, even when the security people felt threatened. If you go to the side, you just see security men all over the place with guns, and they don't like people recording them in that circumstance. We are sure that the detailed report of the inquiry being conducted by the relevant government agency like NSIB, saddled with responsibility to do so, will be released as soon as they are concluded. The ministry has also set up a committee to look into the remote causes and find a way to prevent such in the past. We look forward to the findings and recommendations which we believe will help improve our services and prevent further occurrences. We must say here that this incident is regrettable and is coming to us at a huge cost, both human and material-wise, because all of us are now on the road contacting the individuals that are on that train. Let me say here that we have personally met with many, I choose my word, many, not, I can't say most, of the people that were injured. I have personally met with uh, close to 9 people. And just today, we met with another person in Zaria. We met with him. We went to his house physically, and there is another person that we got through the contact system of our customer service in Kaduna. I also personally spoke with that person who proceeded with their journey using the road to Kaduna on that day. We appreciate the support of our technical partners, all those who joined us, the Army, some companies, the Air Force, the police, and the various federal ministries who are not generally part of the Federal Ministry of Transportation. Upon our calls to them, they responded. And we also promise that we will continue to put adequate measures in place to make sure our rail system is safe. At this point, we want to thank the presidency for giving us all the necessary support. The president also issued a statement on this matter, and beyond the president making a statement, the minister also made a statement on this matter, and various organs of government, NEMA, FRSC, also made their statements. I want to say the situation is under control, and for those who are injured, we have accepted responsibility to take care of their medical bills. This we are communicating with them one-on-one and personally, and we want to assure you our rail system is safe. Many people have raised issue about Warri Itape. Yes, we closed down, we suspended traffic on Warri Itape on August 3rd. That was after we did same some months ago because of operational and technical reasons. And this is because we noticed that the track was damaging our wheels, and we are fixing the track at the 3 points so identified, and we are in constant discussion with passengers on that corridor. They are the most actively engaged passengers because that route is the longest route, and people who use it save 50% of cost of transportation. We have also decided to go the Nigeria First policy on that track by making sure the wheels will be fixed, and they are being fixed as I'm speaking to you by the Ajaokuta Steel Rolling Mill, who have also who are also partnering to help us put back our foundry, and very soon we'll enter into an MOU. Distinguished men of the press, Honorable Minister, sir, and the Mr. President, the situation is now under control. Now the Chief Incident Commander is in charge, the Honorable Minister. So I thank you for giving us this platform and this opportunity. And I also want to use this medium because there is a news circulating now that some journalists were not allowed. If any journalist or medium feel offended for not being around or not well treated, once again, I take responsibility and we apologize. And we are ready to provide you all access that you need. All the issues are personal issues, we will resolve it. They want to use this medium. They have demanded apology. I am apologizing. And we hope all of us will focus on national issues and think about those people who are injured and find a way to put this story behind us. Thank you very much.